So this is map number 1 of a best of 3. And it should be very, very exciting because we've got 2 awesome players. Spawning up in the top right hand position as the green Terran. It's uThermal. uThermal is a Grandmaster Terran player from Holland who has consistently done very well. His opponent down in the bottom left though is a very well known Zerg representing Team Evil Geniuses. It's Jaedong. He of course is from Korea and has done exceptionally well. So this is going to be very interesting. Jaedong has already taken down 2 GM Terrans in the form of Froz and Ascending, but those were both best of 1s, and they both took very different tacks to try and defeat this very, very tough foe. Going to be exciting to see exactly which way this goes, and even more exciting to see precisely what they hope to achieve. Jaedong so far has played relatively standard in at least a longer game against Froz. Meanwhile, uThermal, he isn't doing anything too crazy yet. Should just be a fairly normal Reaper expand. And on Yonsu, that's a pretty safe thing to do because there's this little ledge that you can just bounce up with your Reapers, start harassing a bit with, and you can expand off the back of it nice and safely. This is also the map that uThermal played. That Jaedong played Froz up against. So he's already played 1 game here. Froz did go mech though, so it'll be interesting to see if that's something uThermal chooses to do as well. Thank you all for tuning in live, by the way. If you don't already do so, hit that follow button. Tons of cool StarCraft action comes out on this channel. And if you're watching on YouTube, well, you could have been watching this live. And you've missed all the fun. So for the moment, uThermal, just that 1 Reaper, second one queued up though. So playing this pretty much as standard can be. Should follow this up with a factory. Reactor gets down, switch him up in order to get those 4 Hellions down. Jaedong getting those 6lings out early yet again. This should help him defend against this Reaper fairly easily. At least until Queens get out that can really shut it down. The important thing for uThermal is that he doesn't lose this Reaper or the second one that's coming out. And the reason that's essential is because the follow-on push with the Hellions only really works if you've got the Reapers there in order to tank up the damage. So you've got to be looking to keep it alive. If you can force a couple of lings killed in order to get a couple more out and therefore reduce the number of free lava, then yeah, things are going to be good. CC on its way down for uThermal at the moment. Jaedong scanning this out quite nicely. uThermal adding in a 3rd CC now, very greedy, but a play that is pretty comfortable for a lot of Terran players now. This Reaper play into the Hellions gets a lot of map control and forces a Zerg player to be very defensive. And therefore getting this 3rd base down isn't too crazy. So the Reapers now getting a nice bit of damage done. Picking apart some of these drones. Getting a drone kill with Reapers is always a good thing. 3 actually in total have died so far. Reapers just bouncing, utilising the map as best they can to minimise the chance they get trapped anywhere and take any big damage. Still backing out. Hellions, not ready to come over and join as of yet. 2 just popping onto the field now. 3 and 4 should start in production fairly fast. Jaedong, as every other game so far, going up to those 4 Queens up against Terran. And uThermal actually loses a Reaper there, which really isn't too good for him. Means that the follow-on push with these Hellions is going to be less powerful, as there isn't really as much tanking ability for those Hellions to sneak on by. Jaedong does have his 3rd coming down now, clearing out the rocks between for the quick defenses and just better mobility. Meanwhile, continuing to scout through, hasn't been able to get the information that he may have been looking for in the whether there's the 3rd down or not. A little bit frustrating, but not really the end of the world. Up goes the Reaper. The Lone Reaper, again, trying to get some more damage done if he can. The Queen, though, going to be pushing him back, so predominantly just getting scouting information for the time being. Doesn't matter, he's taking a few little hits of damage. We'll heal those up nice and quickly with combat drugs, as long as he doesn't get surrounded by the Lings, of course, and great control by Jaedong there again. Double engineering base coming down now from uThermal, ready for him to start up those double upgrades. The one downside of getting the very fast 3rd CC down is that there's no starport yet, so the medevacs, if they are coming, going to be quite late, and there should be medevacs, because with a double engineering bay, it's almost definitely going to be a bio composition, despite a decent number of Hellions here. It's incredibly unlikely it'll go into mech off the back of this. These rocks still getting worked through. The bane of many Zerg players' lives are, of course, those destructible rocks, because early game, you've got obviously Lings and Queens to deal with them, and with a lot of armor on them and a lot of health, they take a fair time to get down, but finally they fall. uThermal considering his options. Where can he send these Hellions to maximize the damage done? The creep spread from Jaedong, though, just looking really solid, and giving him a lot of awareness and also a lot of increased move speed area where he can try and get the wraparound and take them out. 1-1 upgrades coming down on both sides. Jaedong is slightly ahead in those upgrades for the moment. He's also getting down his lair and a macro hatchery. He's at a decent drone count of 66, fully saturating up his bases. Whereas uThermal now just floating down his factory to scout and also his 3rd base in order to secure that. Hellions playing a lot more defensively. Only 3 worker kills so far this game from uThermal. Both players losing around 200 resources, so really not much else that can come through. Jaedong now adding in the Spire, adding in the Baneling Nest. Going to be going up into Zergling, Baneling, Mutalisk. Pretty much the standard Zerg response to a biomine composition. Although we don't have any mines yet, so it is just a Marine medevac composition for the time being. The Hellions doing everything they can to try and prevent the creep spread. And now uThermal goes for his play. Moves these medevacs around the side, but they get scouted by some Lings. Lovely move through there by Jaedong. Now instantly knows what's coming and can position units in order to defend it. Couple of Banelings morphing in defensively, prepared for more plays to be coming. But down comes the drop. A lot of Lings already there. Stim from the Marines. They're in a relatively good position, but there's just so many Zerglings here and more reinforcing. Takes out just over a medevac full of Marines. Hellions pushing in towards the 3rd base, but Jaedong not going to get caught out by this multi-prong attack. And has units everywhere. Gets the surround actually on a lot of these Hellions. Quite a few of them go down. Only one managing to escape, and Jaedong following this on now with more pressure. uThermal backs in against the wall just to minimize the surface area, but it doesn't make a difference. There's just too many Zerglings. The upgrades are even tied at 1-1, but it's not going to be enough here as Jaedong floods in with units, reinforcing with more Lings behind. But this probably won't be a game-ending push. There's just not enough stuff. Mutas, though, on their way out. The scouting factory gets taken down too. Always annoying losing that. uThermal preparing to push, getting a little bit closer, doing his utmost to just try and force back the creep spread that's coming across the map. And this creep spread has been very good on Yonzu, so pushing it back is important, especially on these narrower maps where you can just come through very, very quickly. Muta count up to 10. Not super high yet, but still rising. A lot more Zerglings on the field. The 2-2 upgrades for Jaedong nearly done, whereas +2 infantry attack only just now started for uThermal, and no sign of +2 infantry armor yet. Gotta be keeping a close eye on those upgrades, keeping them coming, otherwise you do start to fall behind, as uThermal's about to see. But in come the Banelings now. The splits, good. Jaedong decides he doesn't have enough to push through there yet. uThermal pushing up towards the 4th base now that's in construction. Instant cancel from Jaedong. He's playing this as safe he can. Spore Crawler, Creep Tumor's getting taken down now. Creep Spread still coming across the right, and Jaedong just being relentless in this Creep Spread, doing an amazing job of it for the time being. In come a lot more Marines though. No mines in this composition at all, and no tanks, so no splash in order to deal with those Banelings that come through. Queen's now getting taken down, but in comes Jaedong. There's a lot of Banelings there, and they come crashing through the splits. Not starting immediately, and that's allowing a lot of Marines to get taken down. Jaedong with just so much green acid, covering everything in the way of uThermal's infantry. And Jaedong crushing on forward now. uThermal's army supply down to just 55. The Banelings still pushing through. Jaedong resupplying with a lot more Zerglings, continuing on this push. He smells that he's got the kill, and he's going to try and seal the deal. The Banelings not even going to be needed, and Jaedong takes game number 1 of this best of 3.